Let me say a healthy, good Monday morning to one and all, especially those of you who are listening and viewing, of course, out there in the diaspora, especially via our social media platforms. Good morning to you. Listeners who are at home here on the mainland, in the Sister Isles, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, good morning to you also. I was told I don't say hi to the folks in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, so I had to make sure I get it in this morning. Make sure. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. We have Mr. Sylvan McIntyre with us, Mr. Richard McPhail with us also. Good morning. And
good morning.
How are everybody doing this morning?
Good morning, good morning, GT, and good morning to everyone.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I'm doing good. I'm blessed.
One more day before we say goodbye to the month of March.
Already?
Yeah.
31 days is coming?
Tomorrow. 30 will be.
And then the 1st of April.
And then we get into the month of April.
And what the 1st of April is what again?
Do you pay attention to that, sir? Or you don't worry about that?
1st of April.
Well, as a child, it was what?
All Fool's Day.
All Fool's Day. I haven't paid attention to that in a long time.
Kids
I don't think children...
People even bother with that anymore.
Yeah, children...
No, I hear some traditional people call and they do... But to be growing up with the All Fool's Day, April 1st... It's a nice little kick.
It used to be.
It's a community kind of a kick. Somebody called and
good prank.
And well, nowadays they call it prank.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays it was like
send the fool on or whatever.
Send the fool further on.
So when I remember my parents would wake me up early in the morning and tell me an auntie call me and see me going all the way looking at them.
That's correct. So you actually were looking forward to April 1st. On that, if you're not clicking or thinking. You get caught by it. And I think it was a nice little look forward to. I think some of the traditional community things that we used to have that give you a sense of...
You know what? Back then there was less distractions.
Yeah.
You know, nobody had to wake up in the morning and check their cell phone and all of that as before. Put on the TV and watch TV. So you will be caught up.
Well, let distraction mean that you should be thinking easier. You shouldn't get caught.
We are so distracted now by the how the world has become, social media and all these things. So we don't. That is a way. That was our social media back then.
Yes. Yes. You're right.
You're right. Back then,
and it
compared to now, and it worked.
Yes.
Can I get you to socialize?
Right.
By sending you.
It was good. The ring games, you know.
And when it comes to the All Saints and All Souls time, the passing of the asham and so on.
Passing of sand too.
People used to fool you with sand.
Yeah.
You see? you know about that one, GT?
I heard about it. I never got caught up in it, but I heard about it. I heard folks get back
stealing candles from the graves and so on.
Oh my goodness. All these little comments. And people used to watch the candles.
Yeah. Those were good days. Those were
nice
good days. You know, we can't go back there, but you know.
Well, we shouldn't, really.
You know, but those are
the
good.
Past is the past.
The past is.
But we need to take the lessons from the past to guide what we do now and to kind of give us focus for the future.
Well, they always say your path should set your path for your future. You understand?
That's
that
correct.
Path that you're heading into.
But don't try to go back into it. Let's do it. Let's go back on cool part and let's go back on it.
I'm listening to someone talking the other day who's one of those social media influencers, and he said, we got to get ready to go back to that. And I was like, come on.
Well, in a way.
We may have to go back to that pretty soon and stuff like that.
Well, you know, that thinking is not really far-fetched.
I agree.
I don't think you might really be going back to it, but you might be forced into having to resort to dealing with some traditional things in order to make you survive in this modern time. Because if gas price is going to go up to that point, people will try to save on gas and go back to some wood and do some coal. So it means, therefore, that the fireside may come a little bit active and the coal pot may even come back. And those are something that we used to do in the past.
And coal pots are very expensive now.
Yeah.
Well,
I think I saw one my mom had there a couple. I saw it the other day. You know.
I have to coal pot.
I think I maybe can get it reactivated a wee bit.
Yes. And when with fuel costs going up, it means that everything literally will go up.
Yes.
And so even the ironing, some of the folks who have not been exposed to using the coal pot iron, some of them still exist.
Yeah.
And there was
result to that.
And there were the ones that was like a steam press iron where you put the fire on the inside. You all know about that one?
Yes. Yeah.
You put the coal.
The coal goes inside
on the inside. You close it down.
Yeah.
And you press it.
I saw it used to be a kind of higher iron than usual.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the poles going. I think I saw
It has
it.
a wooden-
I think I saw it in the
handle.
museum.
It has a wooden
once.
handle.
I think I saw it in the
And
museum. once.
it has actually like a chimney where
The
the
steam would come.
the steam would come out, but the oxygen will also
well, not
keep
the
flowing.
steam, but the smoke.
Smoke will come through to keep it going.
Oh.
And for you, if you have to look crisp, otherwise and your electricity bill go up, people might resort to doing these things.
All right.
Right.
I hope not. I'm
I hope
hoping
not.
for the best that whatever situation is happening out there, it get remedied soon.
That good sense will prevail, and we will still insist, like our Prime Minister said, that still dialogue and so compromise could be part of the solution for a lot of things that we do.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that also, because I know a lot of folks will be thrown off by that.
Yeah.
In terms of the higher prices and stuff like that. There are folks who don't drive their vehicle. You know that.
And I don't think people expect me not to speak about that. I'm a risk reduction specialist.
Yes.
Crisis management in that sense. And so one of the things that we do is forecast, look forward, years ahead technically, and see what mitigating actions you can do now.
Right.
And so understanding as well that we'll have a challenge for food security will be challenged if we have increased fuel. We have global warming where water and all of that will be a challenge as well. And you need sometimes water, excuse me, to produce food. So the farmers have to think now what they need to plant.
Yeah.
And the entrepreneurs need to understand how they need to make their business go.
I agree. But as usual, around this time, we have some flowers you're going to throw this morning. And
Excuse me.
You're going to be throwing out lilies, what kind of flower you're
Carnations.
Bougainvillea. you know what flower called birds of paradise?
Yes.
Birds of paradise. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes.
You have them?
No.
I've seen it already.
Yeah, I have
had
lots
a
of
I know
plant
someone.
that died,
I know someone whose home is, have all these types of flowers.
and the ginger lilies and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a good bit of that on my property, and maybe in the future it may become something that people may want to get rather than having a lot of the
Artificial stuff.
artificial stuff. You get fresh flowers, and I think when you're giving gifts, fresh flowers is always a really good.
I remember
token.
someone who used to do that on a regular. Every Saturday morning, they would bring a bouquet of this flowers.
Fresh flowers?
for my
Trust me,
gift.
somebody giving you
that
fresh
would last
flowers
for the entire week.
Yeah.
Just kept it in a vase of water, and it would
Yes.
last for the entire week and replenish it every Saturday.
Yeah. And having mentioned fresh flowers, I just want to say a shout out to my good friend outside in Bermuda as well. When we had the anniversary of my son's passing, a lovely bouquet of fresh flowers was sent to me on that day, all the way from my friend out there from Bermuda. Someone who collaborated with me in terms of our road safety issues, looking at road safety issue in different territories, and Bermuda is one of those places. And my friend there is one of those places, Tracy. I do communicate.
Okay.
So that's really, really good and appreciated. So I hope she's listening, following us, that she gets her flower as well, in that sense. So yeah.
So
Flowers.
Well, no, I do have big flowers. I have big flowers, and the first big one I think we're gonna speak about, obviously, that Polaris Hospital.
Oh.
The launching of that, the sword turning ceremony.
I did follow it via the social media platforms. I didn't get to attend it, but I
was there in person. I was there.
So we went, and we did have an inaugural first meeting of the board of directors for disaster management as well, NADMA.
Okay.
It has been transformed into a statutory body.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on that day, coincidentally, we had our inaugural meeting. Prime Minister was there, and from there, a few of us went down to Polaris as well too. And trust me, locally I would say Grenada get through, man.
Yeah.
In terms of our projection and where we want to.
So the GT.
GT. I like that GT. No. To be honest, on a very, very serious note, it's a new affair for us.
Yeah.
You go there even where the area is cleared, and you feel as though something is already happening.
The field was, to be quite honest, similar to the groundbreaking for the airport.
Yeah. Well,
that sort of energy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a really big thing for us, and I hope we can rally around what is there and see. We may not, I don't know, you are a younger man, I don't know if we're going to see the full as you get older.
We're going to be here to see it. Okay?
But no, of course we will be. It's going to be built in 3 years' time. It's going to be commissioned.
That's phase one, eh?
Phase one will
Phase
complete
one.
in 3 years?
In 3 years.
So when the other phase is going to finish?
I don't know. Later on, but phase 1.
Okay.
Phase 1 in the first 3 years.
Right. Well, I sat there and I listened to something, but the whole atmosphere, I was captured with it and so on. But we really want to shout out flowers to the persons who visioned it, and at least then the architecture and the administrator and the engineering and everything else, that the planning process that came in to cause that to happen. It's a plus for Grenada, and we want to give you flowers, and we have to rally and see that it comes to healthcare is one of the things. And as we grow older at GT, you know what that means for us.
Yes.
And I think if you can cater for now senior citizens, you are catering for yourself and your children, because
so true.
They too will get old sometime.
So true.
And the other aspect of flowers, I really want to shout out. We have the character games on weekend.
Yes.
And I heard the Olympic Commission spoke of a unit. There's a particular name that they gave to that they opened at the cricket stadium.
Yes, I was actually listening to our conversation in relation to that this morning. I'm trying to recall how they're calling it, but it may come back to me shortly.
Yes, you probably get it. Somebody may call us and tell us exactly. But we really want to give them flowers for that, because it's one of the things that we were concerned about in terms of performance as athletes or so. It's not just on the track or on the field. It's a lot about your mindset and everything else.
Yes.
And if you're going out there, despite athletics, in most cases, it's an individual effort. But the team effort for relays and all of this thing, gelling together brings a dynamic that enhances one's performance. And I think bringing them at a camp setting, where the whole aspect of looking at the psychosocial aspects of it, and the physio oversight in terms of their health and their well-being, that is commendable. It's something that we were looking to see, and I really want to commend Hazel Regis, who is also one of our former Olympians, and so forth, who is now the chair of that committee. She's been doing a wonderful job with the commission, and I really want to give them some flowers for that initiative. And I heard national coach Denise spoke about the whole aspect of what that meant to athletes and so forth, and trust me, flowers to that move. And we're hoping that we can see the best of performance, and what they've created would enhance them in performing better.
You know, when opportunities like that comes around, especially for athletes, it changed the whole dynamics of their performance.
Yes.
You know, it changed that mental way of you approaching whatever race or you will be partaking. It changes that.
Yes.
You don't feel while you're doing this on your own anymore.
Yes.
You feel like there's a team behind you.
Yes.
You understand? It changed the whole dynamics of everything.
Yes.
And and situations like that's occurring, they know we will probably see Grenada topping their game.
Yeah.
You know, and we're hoping for the best. Yeah, well, it's taking place in Grenada, so we want Grenada to be triumphant.
And I would want that to transcend as well into making us feel as individuals that you are not just performing for yourself, for country, they say, but you should also want to feel that there's something I can gain out of this. One is the opportunity to have scholarship for higher education, and education means that you could get a better job and greater finances. But I also wanted to start in a smaller way that we know athletes do well. I think the homecoming ceremony may not be always enough, but I think some other tangible things in a smaller way, as you do for the Olympians and so forth. I think when our athletes go to Carifta and they perform, we should be able to give them some personal, tangible outside of just the trophies and the little pomp and ceremony and so forth. Tell her, somebody could come back and they could get something that can, you know what? They have a new bank account established somewhere. I wouldn't even
small as it may be.
Small as it may be.
Startup, but it makes you feel, well, what I went out to do, I feel I get that bit of incentive.
Grenada is behind me.
Exactly, and the incentives coming back to me through that.
And I'm really looking forward to us performing well, because we have a big team, eh?
Yeah.
71, I think. 71.
Okay.
71
it was 68, so 71.
Something around that.
Yes. I'll be working on the Carifta games this year as well. But I'm saying that, and maybe as it goes, remember we spoke about when Artie Fletcher got you $100,000?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 100 cap. $100,000.
Yeah.
And the other athletes and so on, they should be looking towards this. And I also mentioned land and property and all of that.
Yeah.
I don't think they can give $7,100 right now.
Maybe they could each get seven. Maybe maybe they could get $71.
Yeah, it's a start somewhere. At least a start somewhere.
Yeah, and tell them and put it towards something for them to see it grow.
Yeah.
And then it goes on into like, well, I don't think we have a lot of lands to start distributing.
No, you can't. I don't think
we can't give people lands.
You cannot. I don't think you'll be able to do that.
No.
Not now, but
let them aspire to getting greater things, so they understand. Okay, boy, I made it to Carafter. I'm get a little thing.
Yeah.
I make it to the Olympic and so forth. Greater things still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They may not have a bank account or a credit union account or something of the sort. These folks
Just
come in as sponsoring. Let's start them up for the $500 in everybody's account or something of the sort. And as a way of getting them to start out.
Yes. And I hope the authority...
somebody may just run with that idea. You never know.
Of course. They might probably
not just the authority. You have corporate Grenada as well.
Yes.
All right. We drew for our first break. Let's take it. When we come back, we get into the meat of our conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the point. Classic Radio GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it out.
Court.
A trip to Grenada from April 4th to the 6th, 2026. A decision you'll never regret. This isn't just any destination. It's where passion meets performance. Welcome to the 53rd Carifta Games, hosted at the iconic Kirani James Athletic Stadium in St. George's. Under the theme, Passion Drives Performance. The best of the Caribbean's junior athletes will compete in electrifying track and field competition. Organize now and be part of an experience like no other, where talent, passion, and perseverance come alive on the land of 100,000 jab. Feel the passion, celebrate the performance, and create memories that will last a lifetime in pure Grenada, the land of warmth, spirit, and unstoppable energy. Welcome to the 53rd Carifta Games.
Grenada, the fire's about to be lit. Get ready for the ultimate grilling showdown. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026 is coming your way. Saturday, May the 30th at the Monrouge Plain Field. The search is on for the island's top grill masters. Do you have what it takes? Bring your flavor and compete in the chicken category, the seafood category, and the bold, most creative grill category, where daring ideas take the crown. And this year, the heat isn't just for adults. Introducing the Junior Grillers category. Schools and youth groups. If you are under 18, this is your time to shine. So fire up those coals, sharpen those grilling skills, and get ready to battle for grilling glory. Registration is now open. Call or WhatsApp 405-8458 to secure your spot. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026. Saturday, May the 30th, Monrouge Plain Field. Come for food, stay for the vibes, and witness who will be crowned King of the Grill. Brought to you by Maggie, enhancing the natural flavor of your food.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers once again. To the point for today, Monday, the 30th day of March, 2026. Gentlemen, welcome back. You know, we piggyback, of course, on our conversation last week.
Yes.
When we spoke a whole lot in terms of we focus on road courtesy.
Yes.
And, of course, the relevance of the highway code. We're going to feature that this morning also.
Absolutely.
We want to still speak a whole lot about road courtesy to start.
Yes.
You know, last week we tried to get some feedback from our listeners and viewers, and you still can chime in this morning,
yes.
If you can go along with our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But road courtesy, we know it's if I could describe it that way, it's lagging a whole lot in Grenada.
Yes.
It's lagging. It's we need to behave differently in terms of, especially for road users, from driver to driver, even towards others who are using the road, someone who's walking or running, students, other road users, we need to have that courtesy towards them.
Yes.
And sometimes you hear individuals having steamy conversations because someone is walking too slow or you're not walking on the right side and all of that. And I think folks may need to know what they need to do, because sometimes you get the impression individuals may not too certain what side of the road they should walk on and stuff like that.
Right.
We do notice that from time to time. If you are a regular driver and you notice what people are doing, and you say, that side of the road could be, you say, a blind corner, as we call in local talk. And you could say to yourself, I don't think you should be walking there.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
We see individuals parking in places where you know to yourself as an individual, if I park there, I could cause an obstruction. Mm-hmm. And I continue to park there without any care for the other road users.
Yes.
So courtesy goes a long way. And if you practice it, in terms for yourself, you can be able to pass it on to others.
Yes.
And so what are we going to do this morning, Mr. Black? What are we piggybacking on from last week?
Great. So thank you again for the opportunity. And Richard, I would ask you to chime in shortly as well in terms of some of the suggestions for how we're going to do some things in terms of curbing the whole aspect of the courtesy and so forth. Because this is following up from feedback from our previous program. And I think our own insight in terms of what we were getting on it last week, we realized that we couldn't achieve as much as we wanted to, so we decided again to continue with this week. We're hoping that we could do justice to it, and that we would want the callers to engage us in terms of not beating up on the issues. And I think this program definitely was generated, not I think, to identify or get to the point.
Yes.
But when we get to the point, we want, how do we change or make better the issues that we address? Yeah. And so while we speak about how people are not courteous or how they behave on the road, the question is, what can be done to change that? Or how could we improve, or how could we drive people into becoming more courteous on our roads? And while we would get the feedback in terms of real scenarios and real cases, real situation from the people who are going to contribute and from ourselves, we want to zero in on what we can really do to make it different. And as you mentioned, smoke don't really come out without fire. Sure. And to every action there is a reaction. Yes. So to every cause, sometimes there's an effect, basically. And so what you want to be able to do is find out, well, what really causes people to behave the way they behave on the road before you can look at solutions. And even with children and in social setting, in behavioral settings and in counseling and all of that, psychosocial interventions, you try to look at what are the signs, what are the symptoms that causes somebody to behave in the way they're behaving. And so when you understand what you're seeing from them, then you can drive towards what the solutions are likely to be. And you just mentioned, GT, we see road rage a lot of times on the road. And some of the contributing factors to that, they are numerous.
Yes.
Numerous. One of it you mentioned, parking situation, driving in particular ways, knowledge of what to look for on the road and how you react to situation. Somebody mentioned as well preparing drivers appropriately for the road. They spoke on the exam process and whether people are actually being schooled adequately, and they say that lead back as well to whether or not the people who are teaching, whether they should be taught themselves, or what is the experience, what is the background, what is the qualifying factors that causes one to be able to put drivers on the road. Yeah. And so I highlighted some of the fundamentals. One of the things that we suggested as a solution is going back to the highway code. I hope people
bring his old highway
I hope
code.
people could really see that, really and truly. So I brought my old highway code with me.
Need to focus it a little bit.
Wait, right here to the camera a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, good. So they're going to put it in, and it says, new edition, all read for all users. It says the official highway code, and I think the highway code was generated since in 1935. Yeah, around there. It became official and it became law in, I think, in most of the British territories, and they still exist here in Grenada. And I think you can get them through the government printry, or Ministry of Finance, and so forth. One of those processes, offices, and so forth. And anybody know of any outlets where they are available, I would advise people to get one of those.
Get yourself a copy and read it and read it and read it. Just get your mind reacquainted Because someone mentioned it may not be sometimes somebody what is gathered within the book. Sometimes it doesn't relevant for
Apply
us
to
in
us.
our little neck of the woods.
Yes.
You understand? But I still think it has some relevance, that you could understand for yourself.
Right. It gives you more or less a global appreciation for driving.
Yeah.
So it prepares you not just for passing the exam. Remember we had the conversation about tweaking settings where we can have our local code that in itself channel you to driving in Grenada specific. But what the reading or preparing oneself outside of the regular setting does, it broadens your scope, it fattens your knowledge, for want of the best word, in terms of having you been more confident in the things that you do and understanding what others are expected to do. It helps you to be more confident, and if you are confident about anything, your reaction definitely to a situation would be different. You wanted to say something?
No, I was about to chime in on the question of the tweaking for the exams.
Yes.
And having it localized.
Yes.
Right.
Because like GT was saying, some of the stuff there doesn't apply here.
Right.
Really, we have one highway.
Where is that? Mos Bishop? Oh, it's a highway. Yes.
A stretcher road, I like it.
Stretcher road. Stretcher road. Yes.
So,
right.
Some of it really doesn't apply, but I mean, it's a general guide.
But in the absence of nothing, something will.
Yeah.
But the question too, Mr. Mike, before you move, not cutting on you, but how many folks who may have gotten their license in the last 15 years has actually read this book?
Boy.
That's a question that
you don't really often put me on the spot, right? Well, yeah, good question. I
But
can't
that's a
answer
good
that.
question, because
a strong question, yeah.
95% of the persons who would have passed, they just studied for the exam.
Yes.
They got the list of the questions, they got the answers, and that's it.
So should we change that then? Or are you suggesting then that one of the ways in terms of curbing anxiety on the road that kind of causes people to behave discourteously, that you would suggest that they should be channeled into reading the highway code?
Yeah.
So outside of the regular exam questions, there should be
and you probably have a quiz in a particular way. Maybe you're coming a couple of days before the actual written exam.
Yes.
An oral exam. An oral exam could be, and elements of the highway could be thrown out at you and see how you respond. Because a lot of folks are taught how to maneuver a vehicle.
Yes.
You understand? And most folks who teach people to drive, they are probably good maneuvers of vehicles themselves. So
right.
They teach you how to use how to maneuver yourself. So they should have that oral exam where you come in and talk to you and quiz you in relation to driving before you actually do the written exam.
Yes.
That should be something that could be implemented.
Yeah. So
see how you manage that so that you could move to another stage.
But I also suggest, that the written exam be tweaked as well.
Yes.
Because question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason you were to change question
5 and put it to 1,
persons would fail.
You think so?
Yeah. Because they know the answer for question 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the question 5 is down there.
Yes.
But if it's placed at number 3, they would put the wrong answer.
It will throw you off a bit.
Yeah.
It will throw you off.
A former teacher like of yourself would understand too that exams has to be, varied, and you cannot channel people into what you call cramming for exams.
And that is what has been happening with this.
To be just to the process though, I know that the people who do the exam, they've tweaked it many times. But as I said, I think even our last program, that there are some questions that must come.
Yeah.
You cannot evade some questions.
You can't leave off.
You can't leave off some questions that are totally...
It could be rewritten, maybe, but should poses the same answer.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes. So I listed some recommendations as some things that we can consider in terms of how we can curb some people's behavior on the road that can cause them to become more efficient. As I mentioned, the background for this is the resource of knowledge and the confidence that people have as a result of the knowledge. That people say that knowledge breeds confidence.
Yes.
And a lot of time when people are not confident about themselves, they try to make their mouth speak. You have a lot of mouth badge.
I don't.
You have a lot of calls. People tell you that the most called person is the person that the
loudest mouth.
And so a lot of people who behave in certain ways on the road, they can't drive well.
Because they know less.
They know less.
Yeah.
So one of the recommendations or consideration I said is we have to institutionalize the driving process into getting into the exam passing before one gets a license. In other words, I think they should create in Grenada a drivers association. I think there were some steps in that regard where people who teach people, there is a criteria for becoming an instructor. So in other words, if you're going to become an instructor, I have to pass an exam. I have gone through varying levels of training. And for me to have become a trainer and an instructor in that process, I had to have first have the information knowledgeable, and then I do an exam as an instructor. Training as it's called TOT. Training of trainers, or training to become or TFI, training for instructor. So in other words, our driving process, one, we must now make it a bit more scientific, institutionalize it in a way, structure it in a particular way, so that people who are now driving, you go through a process, not just being on the road, maneuvering a vehicle on the road. So in other words, we have systems like schools, driving schools, or even it's just an individual, but that person must be registered in a particular way, and they must have something that they must follow, including knowledge of the highway code that they would insist. And maybe our licensing authority may require from persons coming to the exam, maybe something saying that you have passed that theoretical section through a driving school. You came through that process, not just the practical.
Before you go on the road.
Before you go on the road.
Yes.
So, and what you can do, when you're training, the training of trainers, then you are teaching them themselves to be noble individuals. So they themselves would have a certain standard, and they would instill it into the persons that they are now teaching. So the courtesy that we're speaking about, you must be able to tell them when you are approaching at a roundabout, you give way to traffic on your right. If the person, however, loses their own focus and they try to push themselves through, you must be vigilant enough as a defensive driver then to pull back and give your right away to that person to prevent an accident. You should not then yell the obscene to them and say, you don't know, and use the adjective to
challenge the whole situation.
That's right. So because you have the right away, you start yelling and throwing these words at the other person who may have had some problems at home. So he forgot coming to that roundabout that he really needs to give. How many times that has happened to us as drivers?
Lots of times.
Oh my God, look, I could have created an accident.
It's not that you're doing it deliberately. Although there are some folks who feel they just need to go ahead of you for various reasons.
Right.
They need to go ahead of you. So whether you have the right away or not, they feel they should go ahead of you. But there are times you're driving in for particular reasons.
Genuinely forget.
You could be playing a nice song and you just you get thrown off just for a couple of seconds.
Yes.
Which shouldn't happen. You understand? You probably get a call. I mean, you should not be on your phone. I know these days gadgets are able to connect to your phone, to your radio and stuff, so you could, while you're driving, and these things can have you make those mistakes.
And even the highway code speaks about when you can use your mobile phone as well. So people may think that this is an old highway code. I think this one was...
But I don't think this one I'm going to tell you that you could connect via Bluetooth. I think it's...
I'm not too sure. It tells you... I think this one was 2015. I think this last edition came out.
Okay.
But it also speaks about when you can use your mobile phone and all of that. So the first contribution towards how do we correct the behavior of drivers on the road, my suggestion is institutionalizing the driving and the training process and incorporate that aspect of courtesy, road rage, and those kind of personal behavior while on road. So
you saying, I would also say, if I could chime in on this, I think a revamping of the process also. In terms of how individuals get their license. Because folks may have that attitude towards the instructor. You understand? I see individuals, I have noticed individuals being instructed to drive, and they have an attitude already. You understand? They possess that attitude already. You see a driving, and they are learning. That L is on the vehicle. So maybe those individuals should be checked on, early. So the instructor should also have a history of the driver's behavior. and which the license authority could be notified. Some kind of counseling should be, given to that individual before you are able to go on the road, because we have noticed, yes, you're just learning to drive, but you already possess an attitude.
Yes. And while every system created by man have a way of circumventing, going around it and so on. But I do think that if it is structured, you can get a better end result if we institutionalize it and structure it in such a way where people are formally trained in driving, and you ensure that the people who are producing drivers, they have attained a particular level. I am absolutely sure that we'll get a better standard. And as I mentioned,
I agree with you.
The whole aspect
100%.
of incorporating defensive driving and courtesy on road, how to deal with particular situation, I am absolutely sure we would get, and that's my first contribution.
I mean, I think with the amount of drivers we see on the road today, compared to 20 years or 30 years ago,
right,
we need to have a revamping of the system in terms of
you're absolutely right on that.
Their license.
And the number of persons who are getting licensed now, you can't really say how many persons should get a license. The license age is 18 years, and when people are even trying to get behind the wheel before 18, so they learn it. So as soon as they get to 18,
they go for the
license. They get a license.
And sometimes they're able to maneuver the vehicle to a level of perfection already.
Yes.
But they may not be able now. The courtesy part, that's where it's lagging there now.
That's correct. And a lot of people learn to drive in the very informal way. Yes. So for instance, you have a farm with a number of things, and people have their vehicle there, and some worker or some child or some parent, they just start moving the vehicle, they go back and forth, and it is not the legal thing to do.
Yes.
But our society lend itself to those kind of behavior. We know that. We go up in society with fellas get the feel, and some people by doing the little feel back and forth, the father say, well, bring the vehicle from this barn to the next barn, from this place to the next place, bring something for the cattle or the goat in the thing on the field. That person start driving, you tell him, okay, there's a little hill, how to use it. And then
you're going to wash down the vehicle.
You're going to wash down the vehicle, and then the next couple of months you tell them, look, that's a driving exam. Those are some of the questions they go ask you and so on. That's where they're going to bring you and so forth. And the guy goes up and he passes.
Yeah.
But how trained is he to be on the road?
Yes.
To deal with all of the situation that you will encounter.
That's when they say that's when the driving actually starts. After that exam, you have passed.
After you pass,
that's when you really
drive
and the physical exam.
Face the test.
That's when driving actually starts.
Yes.
No, you are alone in a vehicle. You don't have that instructor with you there anymore.
Right.
You're not your mom and dad who going to tell you, well, slow down anymore. You have to use your own discretion now when you're driving.
Yes.
And that's where the driving actually starts.
Yes.
And you may have that problem where you have that attitude and it's now displayed to other road users.
Yes. You know the time we're rushing up on us again.
So we do for a break.
We take a break?
Let's take that break, and when we come back, we continue. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back.
Grenada, the fire's about to be lit. Get ready for the ultimate grilling showdown. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026 is coming your way. Saturday, May the 30th at the Monroe Plainfield. The search is on for the island's top grill masters. Do you have what it takes? Bring your flavor and compete in the chicken category, the seafood category, and the bold, most creative grill category, where daring ideas take the crown. And this year, the heat isn't just for adults. Introducing the Junior Grillers category. Schools and youth groups. If you're under 18, this is your time to shine. So fire up those coals, sharpen those grilling skills, and get ready to battle for grilling glory. Registration is now open. Call or WhatsApp 405-8458 to secure your spot. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026. Saturday, May the 30th, Monroe's Plainfield. Come for food, stay for the vibes, and witness who will be crowned King of the Grill. Brought to you by Maggie, enhancing the natural flavor of your food.
Before the digital age, before the world moved at the speed of a click, there was a signal connecting a nation. In 1986, a journey in broadcasting began in Grenada, a journey that would grow into a trusted voice across the country. For 40 years, through radio and television, we've been there for the stories that shaped our nation, the news that mattered, the voices that informed us, the moments that brought us together. Your stories, your voices, your moments. The Grenada Broadcasting Network, 40 years strong. One nation, one network.
Athletic fans, the time is drawing near for the most anticipated junior athletic game in the region, the 53rd Carifta Games, right here at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium, April 4th to April 6th, 2026. Get your tickets now and be part of the incredible excitement the athletes will bring, both on the track and in the field events. It's going to be a spectacular display of young talent and sheer determination. We've got options for everyone. Finish line tickets, day pass, just $120. Season pass at a fantastic $350. The main pavilion offers a day pass for $60 and a season pass for $170. Even our secondary stands are accessible at $40 for a day pass and $100 for the season. And for the ultimate budget-friendly experience, bleachers are only $25 for a day pass and $60 for the season. On April 4th, we're kicking things off with a bang. And to add to the visual, supporters are encouraged to wear green on April 5th, yellow on day 2, and on day 3, red. Let's paint the stadium with pride. And the excitement does not stop there. An added attraction is a vibrant...
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to our viewers once again. Gentlemen, welcome back. Of course, our conversation this morning, courtesy.
Yes.
How courtesy could you be in terms of when you're driving? Before we move on, I'm seeing someone making a contribution via WhatsApp, and they're saying a key part to qualifying drivers for road use should be including critical thinking elements of the written test.
Yes.
4 or 5 questions which should be altered weekly. As cheating does occur. These questions should be example. What if you park 20 feet away from a corner? What could happen? That's one of the questions that could have been on. And they're saying 2. What can happen if you refuse to give away? That's another question.
Right.
In terms of tweaking those questions for of course. And then you say number 3. What could happen if you smoke weed and drive?
No.
These are sensible questions to ask.
Yes.
You understand?
And those are actually questions in the exam, But you see what the person is going to be, they're putting it that different way.
Yeah.
So it causes you to think, not just cram what is on the exam paper that you have before you already, that you know the question that you come with, but you're getting the same result.
And it's also the individual is also saying, all instructors should be called for a refresher course.
Okay.
Issued instructor permits to teach, etc.
Yes.
No license should be issued to anyone unless they complete a specific number of lessons with an instructor holding an official license. And I think that's a good idea.
Absolutely.
I go to X driving school. I have to prove that I did 20 classes minimum.
Yes.
You understand? Before I'm allowed to go and get that exam.
Yes.
You understand?
Although some instructors could give you that,
Yeah, cheating will occur. So,
I think the person making the point said so. But then, it could be verified otherwise, and so on. If you're found to be deliberately doing something, the penalties.
This is in terms of getting a license, but our main focus is the level of courtesy on the roads.
Yes. And we're trying to show.
How can we remedy that?
Yes.
That's one of the biggest problems we have here in Grenada today.
Yes.
There's a lot of this. There's a saying that we Grenadians we could drive.
Right. I know that for sure.
They're saying we Grenadians we can drive.
Yes.
We could drive. But just that the courtesy, the disrespect that we see that's occurring on the roads from time to time, how could we put a cuff? My question to you, Norman, is it too late to remedy that? No,
it's not. Absolutely not. Never too late to learn anything.
Once something is cooked already.
No, but some people say you can't bend a tree while it is old. But there are some things that you may not totally change it, but you can make some adjustment. People can make some adjustment. But the other question I follow up to that, though, is in terms of statistics, what are we seeing in the numbers? Are we seeing in Grenada's own society, whether we have the majority of people who are discourteous on our roads, or we can say on a whole that we see people more with better behavior than with bad behavior. What would you say?
I would say the majority has good behavior.
Yeah.
And I would say the percentage of individuals who we see behave bad on the roads is minimal. Is of a minimal nature.
But the ones one too many.
But those are the ones that seem to show up more.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of folks who are courteous on the road.
Yeah.
They will give way to you. There's some folks must see you may want to come out from a minor road. They will stop and let you come out, even though you may not have the right of way sometimes.
Yes.
But they will stop and allow you to come out. There are lots of folks who do that.
Yes.
Others, there are other individuals who may see you there and could care less.
Yes.
Have you there for a couple of minutes well before they permit you to even to move out. You know.
Right.
So, but I understand. I think we are our first caller.
Okay.
Let's entertain the caller and then we can caller via WhatsApp. You're live. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, sir. How are you?
We're doing good. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, greetings to the panel.
Thank you.
I was speaking to a bus driver, and he said that when the people have to get their driver's license, probably they should do some night driving too. Because after you drive them in the day and they get a license, they have to drive at night. Is that making sense?
It's making a lot of sense. I think it's one of the things we mentioned before. Did you remember on one of our previous programs, we did say they could consider having an aspect of where you assess people at nights as well.
Because it's a totally different situation at night.
Absolutely.
And remember,
I
think the cutoff time is 6
to 6.
Yeah.
Except you have whether you have a driving school or not, you could do through the day, but the law provides for 6 to 6.
What you were saying, caller?
I'm saying another point.
Yes.
I went to do my driving test, and after 5 lessons, the instructor tell me for the license, asked me if you crazy. and this is it charged me $750 for 30 classes. And after 5 classes, he tell me, go and drive for my license. I said, no, I'm not doing that.
Did he thought you were that good already?
Yeah?
Did he think that you were that good in terms of driving?
Well, I was the driver. The instructor was there, and he was telling me my license because he felt that was good, but I wasn't confident enough.
Okay.
So I tell him, no, I'm not going. And I think I did 20 lessons. And then I went and I passed my driving thing.
So you got a discount?
$750.
Did you get a discount? Did you get a discount? If you did 20 and you paid for 30.
I paid for 30 and he took the $750 and never gave me a refund.
Well, you were too good, man.
Well, you've been owed some classes.
Yeah, you owed some.
These are the things you encounter. So the program is really nice, and I really hope it could work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like this caller's point, but there's a couple of things there. We'll take the other caller.
Yeah, let's take this caller. Okay, let's take this caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. How are you today, sir?
Doing good, sir. Doing great. Let's hear from you.
Yeah.
My problem is why do they have to drive and put out the hand outside when you reach into the stop crossing and so on. And as soon as you get your license, you drive with your window up. Right? And again, a lot of people parking around corners and so on. A long time ago, you have a certain amount of feet to park around corners. I see guys removing signs what police put to say no parking and parking there and all this kind of thing. And there's no police around to do nothing about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you.
I think. Sorry.
But hand signal is necessary.
No, it's necessary.
Part of when you're learning to drive.
It's still there.
And you're going for the examinations. It was important that you do hand signal.
You still do hand signal.
I remember failing my exams of because I didn't do a hand sign.
Right.
But hand signal, sorry.
Back then we hardly used the indicator.
We did, so using your hands was important.
Yeah.
But it's still part. It's still part of the examination process,
Right.
The use of the hands and the indicator.
But then, as the caller made the point, your glasses up, AC running.
Well, after you get your license?
Yeah.
Well,
how could you use your hand?
No.
He made that point.
But what the point he made is that there are a lot of people, because he said people are moving signs, etc. They are violating the law.
I saw that recently in the Woodlands area.
Right. So what the caller is trying to say, that people only do certain things to pass the exam, and after that
they don't practice.
All hell break loose.
Yes, and that is what we're trying.
I understand what you say, especially when you talk about the hand signs. After when you're in the process of learning to drive, the instructor will tell you how to use the hand signs.
So you put your
and
hand
then when you pass your exam, you put your glass up and you don't put your hands out anymore.
But you're not violating the law.
You're not. You're not, because you know using...
It is a principle of safety.
Yes.
So that the other drivers understand your intention.
But some people tell you, when you put your hand out, you're likely to lose your hand.
Yeah, because Paul King Douglas said some people put their hand, and the hand got to the place before them.
Right.
Because somebody took it out.
Someone is making another contribution by the WhatsApp, and they're saying, eye examination results must be required before you issue a driver's license for all ages. Say that needs to be enacted.
Is there a pass mark right now?
Yeah, there's a pass mark.
Right.
Yes.
So probably the person means that it should be higher.
They should raise the bar.
I mean, you go for it. You go to a doctor before you get your license, before you do the exam. I think you need a doctor's certificate, a medical certificate.
Which again, GT?
Which tests your eyes. And
which again, we know the society we live in. So you go to a doctor, you get no test is done.
Yeah.
You pass.
You get your medical certificate and you go with it.
But isn't written in the back of your driver's license though? Corrective lens is needed also.
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
I think I saw that on mine.
But your ability to be on the road has to be continuously assessed, I believe.
Yeah.
And I believe that repeat assessment, especially sometime when people are going older in age, there's a certain period where you should be reassessed as to whether your competence level is still okay to be on road. And I think an ongoing assessment for people, and even persons who are driving public transport, like bus drivers and leasing and so forth.
Constant.
I think the inspection process for the vehicle has to be more rigorous than the regular persons who just drive a vehicle. But we're not going into the regular licensing. We want to stick to the courtesy or the lack thereof of people being on the road and the contributing factors, and as to how we can change that, how we can contribute to that. And one of the point we made was by ensuring that we have a regularized, institutionalized, standardized setting of people getting their license to be on road, and a component of it should be training them or teaching them to be courteous on road. That should be a component of it. Another recommendation I would suggest is that we take driving instructions to our institutions at very early ages and stages.
Yeah.
So in other words, that aspect should be cultured. And so the focus on how to deal with and treat other road users should be embedded within that program of road safety, traffic information and regulations, the law and traffic and all of that as it go through and you speak to people. That aspect of it must be highlighted strongly, because we are, as the callers have been saying and people have been calling me and saying, the drivers that we're coming across on the road, they have no consideration for senior citizens, they have no consideration for women, etc. Some of them don't even have the consideration, the older one, for the younger people, and the younger people don't have. And how do we really deal with that? And I believe the third recommendation, so one, we spoke about institutionalizing the license system. Two, we speak about getting to our institutions and places of information and so on. And filling out on that, we are suggesting that places that have fleet of drivers, that they should have, like teachers normally do when you have professional development day and so forth.
Yeah.
Even within those sectors that you speak about defensive driving, and you speak about the way to handle situations on road. So I am suggesting that where you have training sessions, briefing session, personal development and professional development sessions, that the whole aspect of driving and the courtesy in driving, that decorum that people need to display when driving, that should become part of that regime. We had a caller?
Yeah, we do have a caller.
Waiting?
Yeah, we do have a caller.
Hi, good morning.
Caller, you're live. Go right ahead, please.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I also think that with technology and upgrade, there are several platforms. You have Moodle, you have all of those. I think the theory exam should be placed in one of those apps. And so when one go to do the theory, they are randomly answering questions from the highway code. So the highway code is placed into the app, and so your number 7 won't be my number 9 and my number 20. And so it leaves less room for people to cram those exams they are cramming now, so that they will have to purchase the highway code and study the whole book. And so they get a little bit more understanding of what is in there, because a lot of them get the past paper, they just study 20 or 40, cram it, and that's all they know. So I think that the RGPF should think about purchasing an app, developing an app, and install that highway code there. And this is how the exams should be done going forward. And I also think that for about 2 to 3 years, maybe lift the age 21 to 25 or something like that for driver's license. Just 2 suggestions.
You would not have a lot of people in your corner, man. People are suggesting strongly that you drop the age to earlier, and she suggested bring it to
mine at 17.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So, caller, thank you so very much for that
I appreciate it. We do have another caller via WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, right. Good. I'll talk about food.
Caller, we're losing you a little bit. I'm not sure if your connection-wise. Go right ahead, please.
King General, I think predecessor driving and is a problem, right? People are if we been.
Yeah.
What are the problem?
Caller, it's a little bit difficult. We seem to losing you for every 2 words you say. We
so we can't even hinge the sentence.
I think it's my internet having some problem. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, our apology for that, but it doesn't make sense we continuing because we're not able to constantly hear you. We may have to move on just a wee bit.
Yes, sorry.
But I take the previous caller's suggestions, that, and I think it's something that the traffic department could certainly look into.
I know the CRD normally would listen to us and also the traffic department, so I hope they would. I know they have been considering that aspect of the exam, and I'm not too sure that aspect was considered. Yeah. And that's a very, very good intervention.
Yeah. But the increasing the age may not, I don't think she'll get much support on that.
I told her that. No. I hope she heard.
She may not get much support on that part because, folks are already complaining about the 21.
Yes.
Yeah, already. So, I mean.
It's 21 now?
No, 18.
18.
It's at 18. But I think to get, it's 21. I think if you could get to the D class or something.
Oh, to get to the other stages of
25. The D class, I think, is 25.
D class is 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But you have the very age of your first age of attaining the license. As a matter of fact, I think they are even trying to bring those standards of the other section of license earlier. If you are competent, you're driving, they test and retest you. The age factor they're saying
should not make a
because the discussion is you are delaying the productive sector by a lot if you have people having to wait all this time to get to a certain point if you can assess the levels of competence.
All right. We do have another caller, which may lead to our final caller for the morning, hopefully. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, go right ahead, please.
I know it's difficult to do that, but could you keep reminding the drivers that when they're driving at night, they must dim their lights?
Okay, thank you a whole lot.
And thank you, caller. People tend to believe that courtesy or being courteous has to be a verbal interaction. Already it isn't. No. Your whole demeanor, the way you react to people, your body language and all that could say whether or not you're a person who is one that is
courteous,
user-friendly.
It's good. I mean, what you want coming back to you, you should practice it to others.
Correct.
Yes. It's a simple way of saying it.
Yes.
The way you would like to be treated as a driver on the road, you should practice it yourself.
Yes.
As simple as that. I think we may have time to take one more call. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
I agree agreement with the lady that called about the platform to set the exams. Also, I would like to suggest that we have professional persons correcting the exam as well. I've heard stories of persons going and do the theory multiple times and supposedly failing. And in the final instance, the person had passed the exam the first time. All right? I've also heard that we have to put in the exact answers to the questions as what may have been placed on the past papers, because sometimes you would study from the past papers. But in like manner, I've been studying from the highway code and I've been responding based on the highway code, and I have almost failed the exam when I know I wasn't supposed to. So these are just some considerations we can take, in moving forward with providing permission to go on the road and so on after we pass the theory. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. That's interesting.
Oh yes, that gives me a lot to think about.
That's interesting. Because we both could be asked the same question.
Yes.
But I could answer the question in a different way, which is correct to me.
Yes.
And it could be correct to whoever is marking the people.
Yes.
Because I may say it in a different way, but it's along the same direction in terms of the answer.
Yes.
You understand? But sometimes, as the caller mentioned, the answers that whoever is correct is looking for, that's what they expect you to answer it.
Yes.
And may see if you say something different, they may think that you're wrong.
Right.
And give you put it correct.
I've been a teacher, I've been a trainer, I've corrected, I've taught. I think Richard has similar background, and there are something, especially things that has legal implications, that you have to quote it as is.
Mm-hmm.
There are something that need to be quoted, but then in general, if you're a good teacher or otherwise, and you're trying to get the best out of people and students, you want to get them to internalize the information and to be intelligent and not to cram.
Yeah.
So what they do, if they give you the essence that gives the same result, they're not wrong.
They're not wrong, yeah.
And a lot of times people, as the caller is saying, they tend to be, if this says the answer, that's what it is. I know that I passed many exams. I give sometimes elaborate explanation, but I couldn't give word for word what is there. But my tutor, my professor understood that I knew the subject well enough to be able to explain it in that manner that gave the essence. And a lot of times people tend to be too tunnel vision with something. But as I said before, in some cases, based on some definitions, you have to give it almost verbatim, or you have to give it as it's supposed to be. And that's the flexibility, and that's why she mentioned the profession. I'm not too sure professional persons and so forth has to be, but I think people who understand the system and what is required. And sometimes other person may have said that they had difficulty in the answers, may have quoted from the point where you had to give something direct.
Specific. If you're supposed to say 20 feet, do not say about 20 feet.
Right. Exactly.
And that about makes a big difference.
A big difference.
In the answer.
Yeah,
I understand where you're coming from.
Especially
if they say 20 feet beyond, don't say I'm about 20 feet.
Yeah.
Because that could make a whole lot of difference.
Because when you're looking at the formula that we mentioned here in terms of the braking distance, the overall stopping distance that speaks about impact, it says braking distance, thinking distance, and overall stopping distance. That is a formula in itself that does not change. Yes. The numbers will tell you that if you drive at that speed, your thinking will be at a certain, then if you press the brake or you apply it, the vehicle is going to stop at a particular distance.
Yes.
And so you can't really change, because
you can't really change that. You know, and those things sometimes makes a difference, and you may think whoever is correct in the exam is being hard on you.
Yes.
But sometimes they're looking for that answer to be in that specific way.
Yes.
Or that particular way of answering.
But the contribution gives us a lot to think about, and I think this morning's program, in terms of the contributions we've gotten, they are really, really fruitful. The next time you see us is after Easter, right?
Yes. Next week coming will be Easter Monday, right?
Next will be Easter Monday, so
already.
All right. Gentlemen, that's what we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank everybody for contributing this morning. It's a very fruitful program, I would say. And anything in closing, as usual, from your folks?
No, I just want to admonish people to support our national athletes at the Corrector Games over the Easter weekend, and to be mindful of road safety as well. Every life is precious, and your action could generate a different reaction. Be mindful of that.
All right.
Also, we have the bikers on Monday doing the island tour. And we know what happened 2 years ago.
Yes.
So I want to encourage everybody to be safe on the road.
Yes.
For the weekend.
Yes. Right. And that's one of the angles that we're going to be approaching in terms of bike riders.
Yeah.
Their protective gear. So it's something that we're going to speak on our program later. So thank you.
But gentlemen, happy Easter in advance.
Yes. Same to you.
So we see do this again. Have a good one.
Yes.
Hey folks, that's it. We're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank everyone. Once again, have a good day, folks. Until we have another edition. Most likely I'll be back with you tomorrow. Goodbye.